who, in the mid-50s, had gone, in the space of 30 months, from high school graduation to the top of the world's record charts, and who, through television, had gone on to provoke national and then international outrage and devotion. With music the shortest route to the emotions, singing stars regularly come and go in short flushes of excitement, but there was something about his voice, his attitude, his shy smile, his boyish beauty, the movements of his body as he sang, his sex appeal, and his story that stuck in the public's imagination. It still sticks, making him the ultimate and, 40 years after his death, the most enduring of American icons. As a boy, he'd dreamed that success would free him and his family from poverty. But then he'd discovered that fame on his level imprisoned as well as released. He wasn't the first rock and roll singer, but he was the first rock superstar, a status which meant that not only was there no one from whose experience he could learn, but also there was no one with whom he could share the burden of being himself, of being Elvis. Throughout his life, he would often say that he'd always felt lonely. That was understandable. No one, other than he, knew what it was like to be under the relentless glare of devotion and attention, to be the alchemist who could turn music into so much love and so much gold. His ambition had been to become rich and famous. His extraordinary 2.5-octave voice, with another level in falsetto, had achieved that and more for him. But when he left the stage, when the cameras were turned away and the spotlight was switched off, what then? Where did he fit in? Nowhere. Impossible to categorize. Outrageous celebrity locked him out of any semblance of the real world. And, as the years passed, he retreated to his court, whether it was at his Graceland mansion home in Memphis, or in Hollywood or Las Vegas, where his courtiers would cosset him in his fears, insecurities, and depression. By the time of that night in Binghamton with Kathy Westmoreland, just 14 weeks before his death, he was mentally broken, emotionally spent. How could he have fallen into this state of despair? What had gone wrong for the man blessed with so many gifts and talents? From the outside, he seemed to have it all. But looking out at the adoring fans one night some months earlier, he had said bleakly to one of his staff, "Those people don't love me in a personal way. They don't know what's inside me." They couldn't. But had they been able to see inside his mind, what would they have found? Most likely a multiple pile-up of warring desires, duties, and pressures. By then, his past had been in endless conflict with his present for over 20 years, his dreams blunted by brutish reality as his artistic ambitions lost out to his needs and to the demands of his manager and himself for an endless supply of money. On film and stage, he displayed a charming bravura, but that was a mask behind which he hid his fears and weaknesses. Would his fans stay loyal the older he got? He wondered aloud in those final months. He dreaded their desertion and what they would think when they learned about his darker secrets. Then there were his more private worries. What about his pathological spending sprees? He knew, in his more sanguine moments, that they were ruining him, but he couldn't control them. Would he soon run out of money? His father thought it possible. Unable to stop himself, he'd either spent much of his fortune or given it away. And then there was his greatest fear, the recurrent nightmare, that he would soon be forced to sell his home, Graceland, and would one day end up back where he'd started, dirt poor again, remembered only as a washed-up has-been, or worse, a pathetic joke. From the very beginning, the enigma that was Elvis, the poor white boy